guys. Welcome back to my Steps to Sobriety, my show on YouTube and as a podcast with me, your host, Stefan Neff. Another day for a fantastic interview. I have got Ele de Posson with me, a beautiful French name, a beautiful woman, a beautiful story that shows us that there is so much out there waiting for us, even when we're in the darkest place and in the darkest moments, that it is so important to never forget that and look forward and work towards a new life, which might come in a way that you least expected. So, Ele, thank you so much for coming onto my show.
Thank you, Stefan. I'm really happy to be here with you today and to share a little bit about my story so that we can together inspire people and give them hope.
Indeed, and that's what this is all about.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the really cool thing at the moment. I'm meeting so many people, and I find it so enriching for my own life to listen to your story. And I'm sure that there are a lot of women out there and men out there who are in maybe very similar similar circumstances as you have been, and will be listening into them.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you look at the statistics, when you look at relationships, well, many of them unfortunately don't last.
Mm-hmm.
What's the divorce rate? 50% in many countries.
That's a good question, but it's not a nice figure to look at.
No, so true. Unfortunately, if you look at how many men and women cheat, I discussed it in an earlier interview with a guest, and we had to say that it's 60-70% of relationships in the Western world are essentially cheating. And when I say 60, that's the girls, 70, that's the boys. Both of them, that's more than not.
Yeah.
And that's quite shocking. So,
that's a lot.
So, but here we are with you, and you certainly didn't think that one day you would be here and talking about self-healing and about making a new start in a new life. When you were a younger girl, what did you want to be? What was the start of your life?
So as a little girl, I was a girl that was always looking out through the window and always dreaming and looking at the stars. I was passionate about the universe, the stars, the planets. I had a telescope and I would look at the moon, and I always said to myself, oh my God, if I was a really smart girl, if I was a bit smarter, I would definitely be an astronaut. It was my pleasure to go, like my dream to go on the planets. But I think that it was actually the spiritual side of me that kind of knew where she was coming from and wanting to go back home. So I was already kind of really open spiritually. But my dream was to be a dancer and to be on stage dancing and singing and playing the piano, because I used to play the piano a lot.
What kind of dance did you do?
Classical dance.
So ballet.
Ballet, yes.
Oh, nice. And were you very sportive? Did you do that a lot in your younger years?
No, I would do only 1 hour a week every Wednesday at the end of the day.
Right.
But sometimes I would improvise dances in my living room.
Beautiful. So you were not competitive in that sense, but it was more the dreamer in you, who just loved the beautiful, nice movements.
Yes.
That's nice.
The beauty of dance.
Yeah. Oh, beautiful. And it is so beautiful, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
But so many young women and young boys are actually going down that route. Dance is the most beautiful way of expressing yourself.
Yes, it's true.
So what changed? Why did you not pursue that beauty of dance?
I remember that when I was about 12 years old, I was looking at a documentary about kids in Africa and suffering from from poverty, from hunger. And then I wanted to be a lawyer to defend the rights of kids.
Wow.
And then I decided I would let go of my dreams, but I would help kids. And so that's when I decided to go to university. And then I found that in order to be a lawyer, you needed to be really detail oriented. And that was not my strength.
Yeah.
So I decided, okay, I'm going to look for another option.
Yeah.
And actually, I had always been passionate about psychology. I was already the person that everyone was calling when they were in trouble. My parents were not really in a good state at the moment, about to separate. We didn't really know. And I was talking to them a lot, supporting them a lot. And I'm the eldest of three, so I was also kind of being the coach of the family, the psychologist of the family. But it was really heavy on my shoulders.
Mm.
And so I remember my aunt telling me, you should study psychology, like it's so natural for you. But I thought, no, my God, I'm already the psychologist of everybody in my life. I cannot make my job out of this. It's going to be too much. I can't handle it. And so I decided to just study marketing and management. But it's always been a passion of mine to help people heal and have more clarity about their own feelings and wounds. And I knew that one day I would go back to it. But, when you have a dream and you say, oh, today I'm financially stable, or when I have this, then I'll do that. So it was a kind of a dream that one day when I'll be financially stable, I would go into healing, into coaching, into energy work. But life made it happen a bit earlier. Life thought I was ready.
Well, and as if we were ever to agree to that statement, no one is ever ready for big change to happen. And
or we are much more ready than we think we are. I don't know.
Touché. Of course, with you had a small inkling because here you were. I've got a bit of a advantage here to you guys listening out there because prior to the interview we had a little banter here. So I know that towards the end of your 20s, you felt that, well, you've ticked all the boxes, as you said, everything that you thought that you were supposed to do as a young woman, and still there was this emptiness. Describe that for me. Why did you feel empty? How did you feel empty?
So I was 29 at the time, and I remember really well, it was in the month of June, and I was just finishing a master in evening classes. And so this had been 2 years of going to school every single day from 6 to 9 p.m. I was working in a bank at the time.
Oh, wow.
I was coaching startups to raise money. So still kind of in the coaching industry, but more around money. And then I would finish my work and go to university from 6 to 9 and then eat. And then the next day, repeat. And then I would also go to school on the Saturday morning. And then basically on the Sunday, I would do my homework. And after 2 years of doing that, when I finished my exam in June and I knew I had passed, instead of feeling joy, I felt resentment against myself. And I really kept hearing this voice of, you've ticked all the boxes now. You've proven the world that you can do it. But what are you doing for yourself? And I was going to get married a few weeks later. We had just bought a 3-bedroom flat. I had my job at the bank. I was going to turn 30. I had the master in management, and I had succeeded with like really good grades. But I still felt like this wasn't it. Even though on paper my life looked perfect, it felt like it wasn't my life.
Oh God, as if there were ever more true words spoken. It is, we tick the boxes, we work and work and work and work, and then you find yourself looking into the mirror and think, who are you?
Yeah.
You were in a steady relationship then. Yes. When did you meet your partner and man to be?
So then at the time we met in 2014, and what I'm talking about, that month of June, was June 2017. So we had been together for 3 years, and we were going to get married in September of 2017.
Beautiful. Having said that, there you are, 3 years together, but 2 years out of that 3 years, you were with your nose in the books.
Yeah.
What was he doing?
He had his own business, so he had his nose in his laptop.
Oh, good. So there was at least not the kind of guilt that you are doing all the hard work.
No.
And to a certain degree, in your late 20s, you identify yourself. You want to create your own yourself. You go out there and take the bull by the horns. That's what you do. So that's what I did, indeed. I ended up studying medicine in Germany, then couldn't find a job in Germany when the wall came down, the reunification occurred. I ended up in the UK, found a girl, and then the girl was already on her way to the States. And I said, oh, damn, okay. What does it take for me to get to the States? Oh, I have to do university again in the evening, like you. So I actually...
You know what it is.
Exactly. So I spent 2 years, like you, sitting in the library and having a yummy Indian takeaway being delivered to my library because I was living in England in the Midlands where there is yummy food. So there was at least a little bit of a blessing in disguise. My love for curries was very much fostered at that time. But like you, it was 2 years out of my life, and that is what I did. Yeah.
It's exhausting.
I was, and it was okay. And now I've got the qualifications. I could have gone to the States, but with the same qualifications, it allowed me to go to New Zealand. So that's what you do. So that's what you did. So, and yes, of course, you're frustrated. Yes, of course, you're tired, run down, burned out. You have done it. You needed that break. And here you are.
I needed a break.
Absolutely. And there you were, spiritual as you were. What was your solution? What was your dream? What did you do?
So it's interesting that you're saying that, because that's exactly how I felt. I felt like I needed more spirituality in my life, more psychology, more humanity. And so I started looking for answer. And I was already doing yoga at the time. I started yoga when I was 16. So when yoga wasn't even famous, 15 years ago. And I thought, why not go for a yoga teacher training in India? It's something that I've been wanting to do for a really long time. And probably being away from my normal life for 1 month is going to help me connect with my true self. And so that's exactly what I did. We got married in September. I talked to my boss and managed to take 1 month of work in February 2018.
Beautiful. Was there a February? What was the business that your husband was doing?
He was working in the cosmetic industry.
Right.
Was there his own cosmetical brand?
Oh, wow. Was there a way that he could have taken some time out too and come with you?
He wasn't really interested in yoga, neither going to India. And I also wanted this to really be my moment.
Okay, that's cool.
So he understood that and he supported that.
Okay, cool. What were his dreams? What did he want to do when he grew up?
He always wanted to be an entrepreneur, and somehow he wanted to be rich.
That's nice. Okay, but good on him. I mean, fair call. So there you were. How was India?
I loved it. It was really a beautiful month where one of my biggest realization, I had two main realizations when I was in India. One of them was that we are disconnected from our bodies in our Western world, and we treat our bodies as cars that we just fuel with gas. And so we eat to just give ourselves energy and keep going. But we choose everything with our head instead of trusting our bodies. And I really realized in India that our body actually held a lot of wisdom as well. And that our mind was there to serve our body, but not the other way around.
Beautiful. That's so true. That's so true. When you think about the gut-brain axis, for example, when you think about all these kind of where your emotions really come from, it's not for nothing that you say, I've got a gut feeling. I have got all these kind of things. So there is so much more out there than we realize in the Western world. So you had that experience and that, wow.
Yeah, that was really mind-blowing for me, because nobody ever taught me that. Nobody ever taught me that I could trust my body. And I was also using my body as a machine or as a compensator for pain. You know, I told you a little bit also about my eating disorders that I had. So my relationship with my body was really not a loving one. And that actually led to the second realization, which was that one morning I was on the yoga mat already dreaming of becoming a yoga teacher and doing something more spiritual and giving to others by teaching yoga. And suddenly I had this little voice in my head that said, oh, if you want to be a yoga teacher, you definitely have to lose weight first, because you're not going to be seen as a credible teacher in the shape that you are. And, you know, I was like I'm right now, not thin, but not chubby either. And then, thank God, there was a second voice that showed up and that said, what? You crazy? You really think it's your body that's going to make you a good teacher? It's your passion, your knowledge, the care that you give to the students. Yeah. It's not your weight. And it was actually a bit heartbreaking, because then I realized that I never loved myself, and that this criticizing voice had always been there of, you're not thin enough, you're not good enough, you're not smart enough, that's why I did a master. You know, I had always been there trying to prove myself, because I never felt good enough. And that day, when I realized that on the yoga mat, after the class, I went back to my room and I was decided to start loving myself, but I had no idea how to do that. So I turned to my friend Google and I wrote, how to love yourself.
Okay. What did come up first?
Actually, some interesting answers. I found out some blogs and articles that said, write your compliments down, be compassionate with yourself. And that's where my journey of self-love started. And well, now I can really say I'm a self-love expert. So it's interesting how all these little moments are life-changing.
Oh, beautiful. So there you were in India, having just had these beautiful revelations. So now we are coming towards the end of a beautiful stay there. And did you dread coming back to Canada?
So I was living in Belgium at the time.
Oh, Belgium. Sorry, I do apologize.
Yeah. And no, I was really excited to bring all these new learnings into my life and start teaching yoga. And I was decided that I would quit my job at some point. And I remember that one of the theory classes that I preferred during the yoga teacher training was when the teacher was talking about chakras and energy bodies. And so I wanted to look more into that. So I was full of dreams and projects when I came back.
Beautiful. And first of all, the jet lag hits you. And so when you came home, and how was it like? Hello, honey, I'm home and we're going to do that, and we're going to do that. Was it like that or?
No.
Nope.
Not really.
Tell me your side.
So what happened is that my husband picks me at the airport, picks me up. We get home, he pours me a glass of wine, and I start sharing how excited I am to be back and keep going on with all my projects. And I can see that he's not paying attention to what I'm saying. And so I ask him, what's wrong? You're not resonating with what I'm saying? And then he says, I have to talk to you now, or I'll never do it. And then he told me that he was leaving me. And I was in shock because we were married for 6 months, but I was really zen, after 1 month of yoga and meditation. So I thought, okay, he's going through something. Let's help him figure it out. But the more I was trying to find solution and prove him that he loved me and that this was worth it, the more he was really hard with me and really letting me know that he was leaving me. And then it's interesting that just at the beginning of this session, you talked about cheating, because of course I found out later on that he was leaving me for someone else.
What a blow in the face. What was your gut reaction? How did you respond? I mean, your life was crumbling. There
my life collapsed.
Yeah, at least the life that you knew then.
Yeah, exactly. I felt like I had a huge building that had just fallen on me, and that I had all these debris on me, and that I had to try to figure it out, how to get out of the mess and how to rebuild the building. And I had no idea. And it was really painful. Yeah, really painful. But at the same time, the way everything went on, I also quickly realized there's a part of me that really quickly felt that this was not the end. This was a new beginning. And that I felt like there was a huge path that was opening for me. I really don't know how to explain it, but the way everything was going and our conversations and everything, I was realizing that life was actually helping me out of a relationship that would never have brought me what I was expecting, and that this would never have worked. And I realized really quickly that, yes, he couldn't love me, but that's because he couldn't love himself either. And when I met him, like I said, I couldn't love myself either. So that's why I attracted someone who couldn't love me. And I realized that this was really the path of my healing, was to start deeply, deeply loving myself.
What a beautiful realization.
Mm-hmm.
But it was beautiful. It could have only been beautiful because you had started already looking into your own journey. This was not a woman who was in the rat race, head down, not even thinking about the dreams, but you were already exploring the inside, your spirituality, your creativity, which was, I guess, a certain life ring that the universe had thrown to you already, and you just had it in your hands and you didn't know that you need it rather sooner than later.
And I think that that's why it happened. It's because I was starting to listen to myself. And I was starting to ask myself, what do I want? What do I need? What is my purpose? And because I was looking for these answers and starting to find them, then life decided, okay, now you're ready to really step into your power. So we're going to free you from that relationship that would never have helped you to become the woman you're supposed to be. And life knew that I was strong enough to handle it, even though I didn't really know that at the time, and it was really painful. I was strong enough to face it, and it deeply, deeply transformed me.
Did you receive help in that time? Were you close with your parents? Was there who helped you, and
I've received so much love during these months. It was overwhelming. Like, my parents were amazing, my siblings as well. Even if sometimes they didn't know what to say, they were there. And I knew they were there and doing their best. My friends I felt so loved by them. They really, really supported me. As soon as I found out that he was leaving me for someone else, and I was really on the floor. I remember 2 of my best friends were on holidays together in Austria, and they called me and they said, take a train, do whatever it needs, but just come. We want you here right now. And so I told my work that I was sick, and I was emotionally sick, and I just went to Austria for 5 days, and it was so beautiful to be able to be held by them, because I wasn't ready to tell my parents or tell anyone else. It was still too hard to manage. So it was beautiful to have these friends by my side.
Oh, was that what? That must have been March now, March of 2018.
Yes, that was
Yeah.
March
So,
2018, exactly.
and you have just got the spring there. If you guys don't know Austria, you've got the Austrian Alps there, the mountains there, and there's still snow and ice on the very top. But
Yeah.
in March it gets really nice and warm around 11 o'clock in the daytime.
Yes.
So you've got actually that inkling of a new start there. You couldn't have chosen a better place to be.
It's true. Flowers are starting to come out of the snow.
That's right.
Which was what I was doing too. I was starting to bloom, even if I didn't know it at the time.
Yeah. Oh dear. You probably had established a life that was normal. So shared bank accounts, shared everything. So there is a lot of work in breaking that all up. So that would have been the next 2-3 months would have been a blur of activity, of leaving the apartment.
Yeah, it was easy. Everything went really, really quickly. Our friends were really surprised by how quickly it went because, I mean, there was no shadow of a doubt. There was no moment where he thought he would be coming back. And the way everything unfolded, I didn't want him to come back either. If he was cheating on me after 6 months, then, well, it was also my responsibility. Things weren't right, and I didn't want to see it. I still married him, even if our life wasn't perfect. I thought I could accept certain things, or, I had my responsibility as well. It's easy to put the blame on him, but I had my responsibility as well. I didn't want to see certain things. And so it went really quickly. We just decided we would sell our flats, the flat that we had. And that's the only thing we had in common, really. And we sold it really quickly. We sold it really well, which then gave me some money. And that's when I decided then I would quit my job and study energy healing and move abroad. So I decided to throw everything, the baby with the water of the bath, throw everything in the bin and just start over. And it was a beautiful opportunity, and I was really lucky that I could do it financially. And I remember asking myself at the time, before taking every single decision, asking myself, is this right for me? Is this really what I want? Is this really what I need? Because for all my life, I had been that girl who wants to tick the boxes, who wants to be perfect, and who wants to please everybody, which had brought me to create a life where I had forgotten myself. So I really got lucky enough that I could put myself as a priority, not having kids and having the finances to be able to live for a year without needing to work.
Wow. That was more than a silver lining. This was a golden lining. So
yes, I was really, really lucky.
Yeah. Wow. How did the story continue?
Yes. So fast forward a few months, we are in June, and I've decided I'm going to quit my job, and I'm going out a lot. I'm giving yoga classes. I'm giving piano classes. I'm still working at the bank, but it's the end of my contract. And I'm going out every single evening because I want to socialize. Basically, I'm numbing all my pain and emotions. And then one day I have a huge panic attack where I feel my heart beating, my hands being really sweaty. I cannot breathe anymore. And I feel like I'm sinking and dying. And I'm like, wow, this never happened to me. This is not normal. And I was alone in my room, and I went downstairs, and there was someone in the house, and I just started talking to that person and sharing with her that I'm not okay and I'm having a panic attack. And so she gave me a glass of water, and we talked, and I slowed down and calmed myself down. But this was really the signal for me that something was wrong, and I really needed to heal myself. And just pretending I was fine and going out and being in the action and taking all these decisions wasn't going to help me. So then I decided, well, I've always been passionate about healing. I want to understand how it really works and how I can heal myself. And I really wanted to be able to always do the right thing for myself. So always be able to welcome my emotions when they were showing up. Always be able to not let the fear control me when it was showing up. Always be able to rebuild my self-confidence when I was having self-doubts. And so I did a lot of reading, watching videos. I went to see a psychologist, and I really dove all my energy into healing and understanding how it works. And then one morning, a few months later, and now we are in October 2018, I moved to Canada. I've signed up for this energy healing course. And I'm still looking into healing and psychology and the mind and the body and the emotions. And one day I wake up and I have an eureka moment. And I tell myself, it's a self-healing spiral. Suddenly, everything I had learned in the past months came together, all the dots connected. And I understood that healing is not a linear process. Whether it is to recover from addictions or recover from a trauma, it's not a linear process. It's not every day it goes better and then we're done. Oh no, it's up and down and left and right. It's messy.
So true. So true.
And I realized it was more of a cyclical process because we go through certain emotions and certain experiences several times, and we actually heal them at a deeper layer every time. So I asked myself, well, if it is cyclical, what are the different steps that we go through in every cycle? And so then I realized there are 6 steps, and that deep down we all have wounds and that they show up through emotions, and that we need to welcome these emotions, rewire the beliefs that are linked to them, and then heal our body and release the body physically and energetically from the emotion, which is all going to increase our self-care, our self-love. And deep down, it's that love that's going to heal us. And so it's a healing of the body, mind, and soul in 6 steps.
Beautiful. That's exactly what healing is all about, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
How long did it take you to truly heal? Or let's say 80% heal. 80%, because we are never finished with healing.
No, yeah.
So, exactly. So it is.
I have more stories if you want about that.
Yeah, well, exactly. So that is, I mean, it is, you were getting better. You were finding yourself again. Mm-hmm. You reinvented yourself as a new woman, and you found your confidence slowly but surely again. But this is like phoenix out of the ashes. This is from a broken girl lying on the floor in a fetal position, crying with her girlfriends, to now, only a few months later, having that eureka moment and going, wow, this could actually work.
Yeah. So I started applying the method to myself because I created it for myself first.
Right.
And I would say that then by December, 2 months later, I really started feeling well, and I felt my energy coming back. I felt my confidence coming back. So it took me 2 months to heal on an emotional and spiritual level. But it then took me, I would say, 6 months more to heal physically, nervously, energetically, because our body needs time to heal. Whatever we heal at a spiritual level, because we are in that material body and that physical plane, it needs more time to really leave the body. And so I then still needed to slow down physically and to really give myself time to heal physically and energetically. I don't know how to explain it differently. But I would say that then I healed in total in 6 months.
And that's fast. That's fast. It's certainly, having said that, I mean, it is, you had all the steps in place and you had the system in place that came to you, and that is a beautiful thing. So,
and I used it every day, and I still use it. I still use it every day because I still have fears that have been created by that trauma. So I was sharing with you that I got married recently.
Indeed, congratulations. See, we're
Thank you.
breaking it here on the show. Yay, Ellie is married.
Yeah.
3 weeks. And I got a real bad conscience because I bombarded her with my questionnaire and said, come on, fill it out. I want to have you on the show. Not realizing that she is in the middle of walking down the aisle, so to speak.
That's perfectly fine. I gave it the time when I had it.
Oh, so beautiful. So how did you meet your husband? How did that work?
So that's also an interesting story. I actually met him the day after I signed the paper of my divorce. So that's June 2018.
I'm waiting. I'm waiting.
And it was I was at a birthday party, and he saw me having fun with some friends, and he thought I had a beautiful smile, and so he thought I have to talk to this girl, and so he tapped on my shoulder and said, "Hey, do you speak English?" Because it was a bit of an international birthday party. And then I said, "Yeah, of course." And we started talking, and I remember we were having a really spiritual conversation on the dance floor where we were talking about near-death experiences while people were pushing us around.
Okay.
And then we thought, okay, let's go outside and have a drink and keep having this spiritual experience. And we connected directly. And because I was in this phase of I'm going to love myself so much that I'm going to show really who I am. I'm going to stop hiding because I'm afraid of judgment. He actually really loved that curious girl that is daring to have spiritual conversations after 10 minutes of introducing each other. And yeah, he was really open-minded to that. He really loved it. And then he was in London at the time. And so I thought it would be a summer thing where he would come to Belgium a few times to see me and to visit me. So I thought I was safe and I wouldn't risk to have my heart broken because he would, at the end of the summer, go back to Canada because he was living in Canada at the time. But we fell in love. And I just had to admit that I wasn't protected anymore. I was actually taking the risk to have my heart broken again. And so that was it. When I was looking for all these tools and looking for the self-healing spiral, it was really a lot of surrendering and daring to open my heart again to someone and trusting that this could be a really special relationship.
Wow.
And it has been, I've been really lucky because he understood since the beginning that I was a broken heart and that he needed to give me time. But it's beautiful when you said we always heal at 80% and then there's still 20% that needs healing. And I'm still working on that today. Because the day I knew he was going to propose, I knew he was looking for a ring, I freaked out. So that was 2 months ago because we got married really quickly. He proposed and we got married 3 weeks later because of COVID and the whole thing. Anyways, that's another story. But 2 months ago when I knew he was going to propose, I went to go for a little walk and I applied my self-healing spiral to myself and I felt the fear. I allow myself to feel the deep, deep fear of having my heart broken again. And what if I do the wrong choice again? Having to see that I wasn't trusting my own judgments anymore because of the first wrong choice. I wouldn't say it's a wrong choice. It was a gift in disguise in the end. I had to go through that, but it was really painful. So I applied the self-healing spiral to me. I did my whole body, mind, and soul healing. And then when I came back from that hour in the forest, letting it all flow through me, I saw him and then I knew I was ready. And then, yeah, we got married. Then he proposed and I said yes, and we got married, basically.
Oh, dear. You can just imagine the poor guy. He was sort of thinking, God, will she not? He was acutely aware that of your history. So
Mm.
I can just can sense the added nervosity, the nervousness of him.
Mm-hmm.
Oh dear.
Well, I think he knew I was gonna say yes, because you talk about these things when you're in a really happy relationship. But he also knew that every time we had taken a step forward, this fear would come back. It happens every time. When I met his parents, when we were talking of moving in together, it happened. So I knew that the day he was going to propose, it would come back. But it's just, I like to call that part of ourselves the little soldier. You can call it the ego, the rebel mind, the lower self. It's just that part of ourselves that is doing everything to keep us safe and keep us in that comfort zone. And it's there for a reason. And it just needs to be loved and cared for, and it needs attention. And that's what the self-healing spiral teaches us. And that's what I did every time the fear came back. I listened to it. I allowed myself to feel it. But then I did not identify with it, and I rewired the fear.
That's exactly how I deal with the fear as well. I
Mm-hmm.
allow myself those 5 seconds of terror, and I taste
Mm-hmm.
it and I feel it, and okay, oh yeah, I feel the adrenaline tingling in my hands.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. So now, thank you very much, fear. It's lovely to see you
Goodbye.
again. But now, move away. So I've got a work to do, and that's so true.
Exactly.
Oh,
That's how emotions work.
yeah,
Exactly. We feel them. It's really uncomfortable.
yeah.
Then they go away.
And I call it riding a wave. As when you're
Mm-hmm.
swimming in the ocean and there's a big wave coming, you might like the wave or you might not like the wave. The wave doesn't care; it's still coming. And it's the same with cravings, the same with temptations, the same with negative emotions. They come in
Mm-hmm.
waves, and if you just
Absolutely.
know that and accept that and say hello wave and just ride the wave, then that's it. 5 minutes, and most waves are gone. And
Yeah.
then you can get on with your life. Might not be the nice 5 minutes, but hey, you know it's coming to an end. So,
And it's beautiful what you just said, because I feel like that was my fear, and that's what I've been observing in my clients and the people I've been working with, is that we don't allow ourselves to ride the wave, like you
mm,
say,
mm.
or experience the emotion, because we believe it's not going to stop.
Yeah, true,
we
true.
we think that once we're stuck in that anger, once we're in the anger, we're stuck in there. Once we're in the sadness, we're not going to feel anything else in sadness. But you're right, knowing that it's going to stop, it's just going to pass through you, really helps us
Mm,
welcome the emotion, feel it, because we know
mm,
it's temporary.
mm,
And that was really a big shift for me, to realize that you're not going to stay in the sadness forever.
mm,
It's going to go away.
mm. And sometimes there are reasons that you feel something. The sadness might just be that you're actually burnt out. Your
Mm,
body needs time to actually lie in the fetal position in bed,
mm,
cuddled up with a hot tea, because you have been pushing the boundaries far too much.
mm, mm-hmm.
So it might be your body actually saying, please, please, please give me a break. And sometimes we don't listen to our body, and then it comes to a point where it shouts at you, now shh, in whatever language you wish, but you get the message to.
That's the wisdom of the body. It always knows how to heal itself.
Oh, beautiful, Lily. So you're still doing yoga? You're still teaching yoga as well, or has that gone a
No,
bit to the wayside?
not really anymore. I'm more using it for myself
Mm,
as a centering practice.
mm,
Um, Now I'm really more into coaching with the self-healing spiral, and now I'm starting to teach this method actually to coaches, and I'm really happy because my method has been recognized by the ICF, so now it's been accredited. And so as from
beautiful.
September, I will be teaching it in a certification in a group program.
Oh, fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Oh, that's wonderful. So if people are really all anxious and to learn more, how do they get hold of you?
Well, I have a website, of course. And people can also find me on Instagram. And I also have a private Facebook group where I do a lot of lives. And I'm actually going to do a masterclass on the self-healing spiral in my private Facebook group. So it's free. Anyone that's interested and want to discover this method and start applying it in their own life, they're more than welcome.
I would like to put myself forward in the first instance. Remember, guys, whenever an emergency happens and in the aeroplane and the oxygen comes down, put it on yourself first. So I think you guys are all welcome to join me, but I'm first, okay? I'm kidding. I'm half kidding.
So you're more than welcome, Stefan.
Ele, thank you so much, because I like that. I like the way you think, and I like the system. And you recognize that work needs to be done. It is not a passive process where you just sit there and somehow hope that everything comes out fine. It doesn't really work like that. It's a stepwise. No, it's a stepwise process. But the cool thing is, if you follow such a process, the chances are infinitely higher to succeed than if you just sit there and let it all sort of happen to you.
Absolutely.
So now,
and that's why I created it, because I remember that at the time I knew about EFT, I knew about meditation, I knew about psychology, but nothing seemed to really be helping. And I thought that healing was more complex than just having one tool. And actually, the only thing that I've invented is the process in itself, because it's filled with knowledge, and I've created the tools as well, but the knowledge on which it is based are things that have been proven already scientifically by a lot of people that are much smarter than me. So I've just brought all that knowledge together into a method. And that's the magical thing of it.
And that's the beautiful thing of it, because ultimately, the more systems and the more approaches one can explore, the more likely it is that you come to that one opening your eyes moment where you think, wow, now it finally goes click.
Exactly.
Yet the same information has probably been presented to you 5 years ago in a different framed way. And then you might have not been ready, or you might have not understood it because the way it was framed was just not gelling with you.
Yeah.
And now suddenly, exactly. So always think that the past does not equal the future, guys. You have got a life that you can't do much about the past. And you need to learn from the past. What you can do something about is right now, the present. Right now, you have the choice. You have the choice to look down there into the description of the video and of the podcast down there, because that's where you're going to find the information for LA. So you just need to click on the bloody button and so go out there and make the contact. And
you'll be welcomed with open arms.
And how beautiful is that? How beautiful is that? I'm looking forward to that. I'm getting very excited, actually, because
amazing.
No, it is, because here is another opportunity for me to grow, and I've grown so much in 7 years, but I have no idea where this path is leading me, and for all
nobody really knows.
Well, exactly. But I'm nowadays, with every interview I have with guests, I learn so much more. I'm blessed and humbled by the ability and opportunity to talk to you and see a new way.
And that's part of the purpose of life. I think it's the Dharma law that says that we are here on earth for a reason. And then there's another element which says, and our purpose is to get to know ourselves the best.
Nice.
And so it's beautiful that by interviewing a lot of people, you then get the opportunity to know yourself even better. And then the third element of the law of Dharma is to then, once you know yourself really well, to share your gifts with the world.
And again, this is not a linear process.
No.
It's on the contrary, that keeps going around and round.
Yeah.
Because you think you have dealt with something and you have learned it. And yes, I've dealt with that PTSD. I dealt with that grief. Let's move forward. Then you think, oh, oops, actually, And suddenly some new emotion comes out where you think, hang on, I don't think that's right. So
that's why it's a spiral.
Indeed, right. Yeah,
it never ends. It's a self-healing spiral.
But that's good, because it's think of the compound interest. You learn something, do something about it, and you think, okay, that's cool. And then you learn something new that is built on top of that. So you lay a good foundation, and then suddenly more things come on top. So then when the next new challenge comes, you might very well have some tools with which you can take on that challenge. And if not, then hang on, there are actually more things out there, and I need to keep searching.
Yeah.
So welcome to the path, fellow travelers out there.
Yeah.
It's certainly, it's just so happens to be that Ele and me are maybe a little bit further advanced in the path compared with you, but we are still on the path. So
there are still people ahead of us that can teach us, and then we can share to the ones that are.
Exactly. It's a lovely snowball system. I like it.
Never-ending path.
Wonderful. Ele, thank you so much for having come onto my show. This was a wonderful, wonderful interview. I'm deeply humbled and I'm deeply grateful that you spent an hour with me and with my viewers and listeners.
My pleasure.
So guys, listen up. Just check down there, check the descriptions. Whilst you're down there, you might as well press the subscribe button for that show here, okay? Leave a review if you liked what you listened to. But more importantly, think, are you really happy with where you are at? Or is there maybe room to learn something new about yourself? And join me with Ele, and we'll take it from there.
Yes, definitely. Thank you, Stefan. It was a pleasure to be here.
Thank you so much. Look after yourself out there, guys. Yes. Bye.
Bye.